Arc 4 is finally happening! For a while, I actually felt like Wings of Fire was not going to return. I mean, the last main series book was published 3 years ago now. That means some of you have likely gone through middle school without ever having the pleasure of reading a fresh Wings of Fire book in the back of the assembly hall. But fear not, a month or so back, Arc 4 was confirmed, and some rumors even circulated surrounding a hoax cover for book 16 made by the wonderful artist Jack Dodd. But now, we have an actual, real, credible information source on Arc 4 from the Fanwing Fests. At the first Fanwing Fest, Toei gave Fanwing's presence and also all of its internet stalkers a glimpse into Arc 4. First of all, the first book is called The Hybrid Prince and its protagonist will be Umber. There are 2 new dragons introduced already, Mulberry and Beryl, and also some mysterious metal-covered dragons. There was also even more information given out in the Fanwing Fests, but I don't want this intro to go on forever. So if you want to learn more about what you missed, go and watch Doug Lovers Like Doug's videos on it. Now that the Fanwing Fests have concluded, I don't think that Toei will release any more information. So finally I'm putting out this video where I will be making predictions on what will happen in the Hybrid Prince and the rest of Arc 4. But before we get started on my predictions based on the teasers that we have, if you are new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post animal fiction videos, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. So here is my bingo card for Arc 4. Let's start off with the easiest prediction. Beryl is evil. Already, she has been described as having a strange influence on other dragons, specifically Sora. She also silenced Mulberry, her own son, when he tried to tell Umber something, making her appear as though she has something to hide. When it comes to what type of villain she is, I think that she'll be a well-meaning one who loves the others around her, but ultimately doesn't care about other dragons outside the ones that she has formed connections with. Like Queen Coral crossed with Morsier Natalius. My second one I'm pretty sure is correct. If Beryl is some sort of ruler, then it makes sense that her son, Mulberry, is the namesake hybrid prince. That means he's at least part Skywing. As for his other tribe, we haven't gotten a good descriptor on him, so I can't make an educated guess on it. However, I hope that he will end up being half Mudwing, but I'll settle on him not being half Nightwing like every other hybrid in the series. And then, we have my most controversial Arc 4 prediction by far. Sora will kill more dragons. A lot of people mischaracterize Sora as a cinnamon roll who can do no wrong, which is exactly how Sora feels about herself. However, we cannot forget that she killed several dragons and wounded, even more, in her quest just to kill one dragon. She didn't care about collateral damage in the moment as proven by her methods, though she felt guilty later. And why did Sora do it? To avenge someone she loved. She did it for her sibling. Guess who was the protagonist of the Hybrid Prince? One of her siblings! If Umber ends up threatened in some way, I don't think Sora would hesitate to kill again. She will carpet bomb the entire island of hybrids if that means protecting those that she loves. And number 4, it pains me to say it, but I think in this arc, Sunny will be getting a romantic interest. Personally, I've headcanoned her as being A/Arrow since I was literally in 5th grade. However, I am not the author and I cannot control what Toei does. So I think that Sunny will start dating someone. Number 5 is Random Tsunami. No, I do not think a tsunami will hit the island of hybrids. Instead, I think Tsunami will make a random appearance where it doesn't make much sense looking back on it. In the last 2 arcs, Tsunami has just been doing stuff. Even though she's supposed to be the headmaster of JMA and likely has a lot of duties, she instead has been going out on wild goose chases, such as going after Darkstalker and getting herself captured by Foeslayer, going to Pantala with her little brother, going to Pantala again to beat some tail. Because of that, I predict that Tsunami will not hesitate to neglect her duties and go off and do something random again this arc. And now we are on to the next row. In A Guide to the Dragon World, we were introduced to Krakens. Already, one thing established in A Guide to the Dragon World has shown up, Beryl. Maybe Toei will introduce another to the main series books, especially since the first book takes place on an island surrounded by sea, so it makes sense for Krakens to show up. Number 7, Island of Hybrids. From the way I've been talking, this may be a given, but the island is likely full hybrids, and dragons with so much mixed ancestry that you can't really pick out what tribe they are from anymore. We already know that the island has served as a refuge for Fathom and Indigo, and later probably Beryl as she is a part of the Council of Refuge. So maybe whole generations of dragons have lived on the island and interbred. There also may be some remnants of the beetle wings on the island, which could be cool. or a group of Nightwings who ended up there post-Darkstalker. Number 8. Metal Dragons. This is a part of a script that is entirely new, as at the latest Fanling Fest just a week ago, everyone was shocked when dragons covered in metal appeared to escort Umber, Sora, Mulberry, and Beryl somewhere. From the way these dragons are obsessed with ranks and are made of metal, I think that these are robots, and not a new type of dragon. They were likely created by an animus, and a long time ago judging by Beryl's reaction to them. We know that Fathom lived on the island. However, I do not think they were created by him, but another animus descended from him. Number 9. Firefly. This is a rather simple prediction, but I think that we will see Firefly, or at least her egg, in Arc 4. I do not think we will see any other ship kids though, as Glory and Deathbringer have the closest relationship out of the DoD and their partners by far. If Firefly appears in Arc 4, she could very well become one of the protagonists of Arc 5. And now we are on to the double digits with my 10th prediction. I think that Jerboa 3 will make an appearance somewhere in the arc. My biggest bet is that she will shelter Umber and Sora before they are taken to the Island of Hybrids, or that her hut will be used as a base for other characters to get there. I am willing to wager that she might have been friends with Beryl, though the relationship may have ended on sour terms after Beryl tried to make her use her animus magic on a somewhat fishy enchantment. However, that latter prediction is pretty far out, so I wouldn't count on it. And now we are on to row number 3 predictions, and if this prediction doesn't work out, I will eat my words, and you can hold me to that. I will print out this section of the script and eat it. However, I will put vinegar on it to make it more palatable. Mulberry and Umber will be getting together. This might be some sort of Riptide and Tsunami situation where Mulberry is slightly using Umber but still loves him, but they will absolutely be getting together. And on to number 12, which is a bit more contentious, but Beryl might have animus enchanted objects at her disposal that no one else knows about. After meeting her, Sora seems to instantly respect her, so she may have some sort of charm spell going on. However, I do not think that Beryl has animus magic herself, or that the Island of Hybrids has an animus dragon currently. Instead, I think that Beryl might have an object or two at her disposal. There are 4 ways that she could have gotten one. First, from Chameleon, who works for Queen Scarlet, the queen of Beryl's former tribe. Her getting an object from Chameleon might explain her falling out with Queen Scarlet. She could have gotten one from Jerboa 3 if my theory that I discussed before was correct. The third dragon she could have gotten it from is Stone Mover. However, that seems highly unlikely considering his dedication pre-statue to his tribe and paranoia post-statue about his soul. The fourth way she could have gotten one is through the island itself and stumbling upon an animus enchanted object. My next prediction is fairly obvious. It used to not be, but now that we've had all the Fanling Fests, I feel like everyone is on the same page with this one. I predict that the island will be home to powerful animus magic. There has to be a reason why this island is not known about by either of the continents, despite being a fourth the size of Pyria according to Tui. Maybe it is under protection spell keeping all strangers out. I don't think the metal dragons are enough to keep dragons from talking about it, so I think a protection spell would work. Like more of a mimetic one than a physical one. We also know that animus magic won't remain gone forever in the canon. Once again, according to Tui herself, maybe the island will have something to do with bringing it back and putting a leash or a dampener on it this time around. And the last prediction on this row is Kinkajou Protag. I know a lot of people will get excited at this prediction. I could totally see Kinkajou becoming a protagonist. I used to think that it would never happen. However, after Umber was announced as the protagonist for the Hybrid Prince, the probability seems fairly high. Kinkajou used to be in the same winglet as Umber, so there would be a connection between the protagonists, and Tui has expressed a lot of interest in writing from her perspective, similar to Umber. Since she has followed through on Umber, I think that she could follow through on making Kinkajou a protagonist as well. Let's start off row number 4 with a very modest prediction. Arc 4's prophecy will be called the Hybrid Prophecy or the Island Prophecy. The next prediction isn't nearly as modest. I think that Peacemaker will appear and will either be a protagonist for a book later in the arc, or be an important side character accompanying a dragon on their journey to the Isle of Hybrids. From what Tui has said, we know that Darkstalker still has a hold on Peacemaker's psyche, as Peacemaker has been suffering from strange dreams. Maybe Peacemaker will be taken to the Isle of Hybrids in order to figure out the animus magic, or because Darkstalker fully re-emerges and takes him there himself. if Darkstalker fully reemerges, I do not think he will have any of his powers that he had before, including Flame Breath, which will make him incredibly annoyed. Ironically, considering his eye got taken out by it once, I think that he will have Rainwing Venom instead, but he will not be able to fully change the color of his scales. If Darkstalker does re-emerge, he will likely go to the Isle of Hybrids to find a way to regain his Animus magic and restore his body. However, he eventually learns to be empathetic and simply wants a new body, and he learns to share the one that he has currently with Peacemaker. If he does go to the Isle of Hybrids, he would also be interested to learn that Fathom discovered them. Going back to the Arc 4 prophecy prediction, I predict that the prophecy will be revealed late into the arc. The earliest it will be said out loud in the book will be in the final chapters of the Hybrid Prince, just like Arc 2 and Moon Rising. And number 18 is simple. Mulberry is the missing Skywing egg from the hatchery, and thus the Wings of Sky from the prophecy. This is the one that I'm the most torn up about, because it totally seems like a 2E thing to do, but on the other paw, you'd expect Scarlet to be aware that the egg of her arch nemesis is in the hatchery. However, this could have occurred before Beryl was her arch nemesis, and maybe stealing Mulberry's egg is what got her put on the list. And number 19, this is the final one of the row, and my saddest prediction by far because it would mean that we spent less than an arc on them, but I predict that we aren't going to see much from the Pantaleons this arc. Firstly, the Hybrid Prince takes place before Arc 3 ends. Secondly, the Pantaleons have been sort of ignored even within her own arc for the Pyrrhian and Scavenger plots. It wouldn't surprise me that they aren't the priority of this arc as well. We are down to the final row predictions, and this first one is going to make a lot of people very happy, as the largest complaint people have had consistently about Wings of Fire is that the involvement of scavengers has only increased since the first arc, and people fear that they will be taking over the storyline. However, I do not think that will be the case. 2E has likely noticed the fallout from including scavengers in book 14 and 15 so much. 2E will backtrack or downplay some of the previous stuff surrounding scavengers and dragons to make for a more compelling story. Also, the plotline hinted in Dragon Slayer has somewhat been rendered null since the scavenger protagonist can now just, ask any dragon for help, so I don't know what she's gonna do there. So, no, I do not think that there will be many scavengers in Arc 4. 21. Sora Beryl parallels. If my prediction of Beryl being evil is right, even if my prediction of Sora killing more isn't, I can definitely see parallels between the two dragons. According to my predictions, Beryl's motivations are to protect those who she loves, even at the expense of others. Sora's word that she wanted to avenge the one who she loved, even at the cost of others' lives. The two are pretty similar when it comes to motives. If 2E fully dove into the parallels, I could totally see Beryl becoming a mentor to Sora. If so, then Sora might become a protagonist for a book in the arc. Since we're going to be seeing a lot of Sora in the Hybrid Prince, I think that 2E might balance it out a bit by bringing Icicle back, or maybe even making her protagonist. However, we've already seen a decent amount from the Ice Wings so far in Wings of Fire, so I'm going to mark this one as being decently unlikely to happen, as we need to maintain the balance of what tribes have what amount of books, in my opinion. Number 23. This is a rather simple confession as I am winding things down, but I think that there will be a trans background character. They will likely appear in the later books, just like how the first non-binary character appeared in the last book of Arc 3. Now, it is time for my final prediction, and I saved the most insane one for last. Beryl x Scarlet. Beryl fled the continent and Scarlet put her in a burn book. Now, why would she do that? Because of dramatic betrayal. And what is more dramatic than a breakup? So I think the two used to be dating and had the nastiest breakup imaginable, but on the other paw, this could just be my obsession with Toxic Yuri blinding me to what is likely to become canon and what is not. Those were all my predictions for what may happen in Arc 4. Here's the full bingo card once again. Is there anything that you think is gonna never happen? Is there anything that you think I should have included on the bingo board? Comment your opinion down below. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make animal fiction centered videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who are already subscribed, thank you so much for your continued support. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.